Conference, it's been an absolute pleasure in chairing this committee. It was well supported by Bhavish, Julia and Peter. I would like to say extra thank you to Peter Wagg for his additional work on the board of the PDF with Brian and chairing Newsproso. I would like to say a big thank you to Brian and his team for their relentless support to members needing help and delivering on the business objectives. I would also like to thank Smith News and Menzies for their continued support. We have never worked so closely to address members' issues at the top level. I know there's been issues up and down the country over the last few months. South East, Newcastle, North West and a few other areas. But we have worked closely at the top level with Menzies and Smiths to address these issues. We are working tirelessly to get these issues sorted, and I think we believe that we have got somewhere, and there's things that has been implemented at their depots which will hopefully, which just recently just happened, so we should see some normality going forward. But conference, don't forget what the President mentioned in his speech today, that no President has come along and managed to resolve the issues of news. However, what we can do is work closely, which we are doing, and the relationship has never been at this level ever before. So bear with us. We are addressing the issues that are still remaining that needs to be sorted, but rest assured, I'm sure the team will carry on doing the good work. I will now pass on to Brian to share some more information to you.
Thanks, okay, good afternoon, conference. Just to note there that we had 11 meetings since the last conference. Quick reminder of the team, two sets here, obviously myself, Pete and Jerry. Thank you guys for your hard work. And then Andrew, who unfortunately is not here today, and Stevie at the bottom, but the other four in the middle in the Connect team are here, and welcome some time with each of you. We spoke at the last conference about engagement, making sure that we were engaging with suppliers. We've done that on 347 occasions since conference, and believe we've delivered on the need of closer relationships with suppliers. We've got Smith News and Menzies presenting straight after this, and importantly, your local meetings as well have increased by 8% in this time. The other part that we did commit to at last conference was transparency, and the local meetings. We do now advise members of when the meetings are taking place at branch level, and we do advise the members of the outputs from their meetings as well. We think that's having a positive effect on the meetings and on the relationships you've got locally with your wholesalers. Today is very much about some of the successes, and you've heard some of these from the National President already. The big one, obviously, carriage charge freezes, as first time ever that's happened. And 14 out of 16 national newspapers have been pro rata in this year. HND, we go back at the beginning of COVID, some time spent wisely in recognising that HND operators were special workers, and Deliver My Newspaper generated over 250,000 new orders. At the top level, some special thanks to Peter Wagg there. We've joined the board of the PDF in Mike's year of presidency. We've worked hard there. We've seen a new charter introduced that makes it a lot more streamlined, a lot more easier for members to complete, and seen real positive things that, on that front. Supplier response rates as well from when you phone into Connect are at an all-time high as well. We're talking the high 90% most weeks. So at least you're getting an answer within that 48-hour period. The NMA have also increased the restitution payments for late home-delivered newspapers you have to rerun. So that's an improvement there. And I'm sure Simon from Smith's News, Simon Gage, will talk a little bit about the compensation for late deliveries along with the automatic recharging. Just one other I will mention there, we do work with the Telegraph on the retailer subscription scheme, and there are new packs available for all members, and so far to date members have received over £24,000 backing from the Telegraph for activating them subscriptions and getting £50 rewards. So we've got a couple of things on the keypads, hopefully keep us all awake this afternoon. This isn't to wind the whole set up, but these are 10-second ones, so please get on your pads quickly, if that's okay. And we'll just set the scene for perhaps how we can help you guys further. Vote now, please. Okay, slightly different there. I guess, guys, from my point of view, I didn't think I'd be standing here today talking about, the highest fuel price in probably decades, yet there's no fuel about, and asking for you guys for some forbearance to, while the situation of drivers continues, and I think that's very important. But how can we help you resolve matters? And it's really through the NFRN Connect service, so that's going to be renamed the contact centre. So I've got another question for you guys to vote now. Have you called the Connect service, Connect line, in this year? Vote now. Wow, that's a lot higher than I thought, which is very interesting. All I say, guys, perhaps lots of you have in this room, and it's very important that you take the opportunity to share the good work that the Connect service do. Like I said, they're getting responses now quicker and better than ever. The team are there to focus on helping you solve problems, and largely, not in every occasion, they're highly successful in achieving that. And the important part in that is obviously the data that we're able to then use back in our conversations with the suppliers about what's happening that perhaps they're not fully aware of, and hopefully working with both the wholesalers and the publishers to resolve them. But the Connect service does an awful lot more. Yes, it's news and the majority of the calls, but actually, because of time, you can see all the points here that we do help members with. My colleagues are on a stand in the tea room. They want to talk through these with you. And I'm just hoping you can go back to your branches and districts and say, look, it is the NFRN Contact Centre. They are there for lots of different things. Most of them are self-explanatory. The Circle of Care one, for instance, is where we contact new members. We know there's a leaky bucket at the NFRN. People leave, sell shops, but what we want to make sure is those that join us do stay. We've got a programme where we contact their members to make sure they're getting the most out of their membership. Number 8, for instance, we check our own work. We do check to see that members are satisfied with what we're doing, and the manager's responsible to take corrective action to make sure that the service and the benefits are even better. And simple things, if you need help completing documents, National President mentioned the NFRN Awards. We do need applications, but if members want to phone in, we can help them complete that. So we know often maybe English isn't the first language for some people to do that. So please use that. And I've got then some headline numbers as well for Connect. They've received this year, since last conference, 45,000 incoming calls, over 83,000 outbound calls being made, and in that time, over £300,000 have been recovered for members. This year alone, you can see the numbers there. The staggering amount is 54,000 outbound calls to members. We're going to come on to the phone number that you all need to store in your phones. That's really important. That is the engagement that we're having with members, and if we can have that conversation with you and understand what your needs are, that's really important. Also, that team have recruited 186 members, because there was one recruited this morning. So, that's a good contribution to the business as well. And they've generated for the business suppliers over 4,500 leads. And if they equated out, and members took up then deals and it was right for them, that'd be over £1.6 million that either make money or save money using the benefits and services that we offer. So my last question on Connect is, please vote for, have you received a call? Have you got this number really in your phone is the important question. Please vote. An interesting number. I thought we would have called a lot more. So please, please urge you guys and your members to put that mobile number in your phone, stored as NFRN Contact Centre. Finally, we'll move on to NewsPro. I think the National President alluded to this. We've grown by 36% to just over 1,200 members currently. We've now got a retail group worth £80 million in retail sales value. We consistently outperform the market. We know that members that are identified better in the wholesaler systems like NewsPro generally get an overall better service, whether that's allocation or on promotions. We're getting stronger publisher investment and interest in NewsPro, and we've got 10 clear benefits as well. That, they're on the slides outside, but I'm going to run through them now very quickly. If Peter Waggle's up here, he'd be saying joining NewsPro is a no-brainer. I think it's very important. Yes, we know it's maybe not the priority category all of the time for all of the members, but there's lots of things we can do to help members with that category. Please consider, you've got packs also on your desks that give you your individual performance. One of the key things we are doing is removing titles from standing orders that you won't sell. We're doing our bit for the planet, if you like, because we're trying to prevent titles going out for the ride, making sure that we're still protecting your shop's age, your home delivered copies as well. And increasingly, next year looks like it'll be a very fruitful year for NewsPro. We've got a promotion coming with a couple of TV listing titles next month, but please consider that as well. So after reading them, do you think NewsPro can benefit your business? Vote now. Yeah, fantastic. So, you know, if you pass that message down, big and small stores, there are clear benefits in joining NewsPro. And if you haven't filled your application forms in, if you're not in it, please just hand that back to Jerry, myself, or one of the team back there. Finally, just a summary for the wholesalers come on. We've got engagement at all levels of the supply chain. We made that commitment. We are doing it, and it does all come together well. We've got the strongest business relationships with suppliers than we've ever had. Probably testament to that's the raffle prizes tonight. We've got lots of key victories. I've just touched on a few there. We've increased the income since our centenary year as well. So that was a good year of income, but suppliers are supporting even more. Stronger member recognition. I can't remember why I wrote that one, but we are being recognised, I think, by the supply chain as an important and serious group, particularly through NewsPro, particularly the work you do in your local districts as well. We've got far more greater contact with you guys, particularly on the outbound phone calls from Connect. Our performance overall is stronger. Our market performance, both the NFRN and then NewsPro, is above normal independence. And our objective very much of making money, saving money, making your business a bit easier is being achieved, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you for your time.
Any questions?
I don't know whether this is a question or a statement, really, but the argument being that it sounds like it's really rosy within the news department, and I think on the ground it's far from it. As we all know within this conference hall, the problems that we're having with our newspapers and magazines, our supplies, our delivery times. It is absolute chaos out there for us. We're all trying to sustain HND rounds And we can't maintain the HND rounds because we aren't getting our papers early enough. And it's just got to stop. Somewhere on the line, they've got to start listening to us, otherwise they ain't going to have any HND left. Because we can't get the papers out early enough if we don't get them early enough. The wholesalers are turning around and saying they're not getting them early enough. They haven't got the staff to process the papers to get them out to us. And I think it's really, really important we as an organisation have to go to the top table and tell them that we are at crisis point at this present point in time and that we have to do something. This is our core business for our members and it's so, so important that we try and fix this. And it's really not an excuse now to turn around and say, well, we've tried this all the years, because I think now we are at breaking point and we need to do something about it. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker.
Afternoon, Council. Hetal Patel, London District. We saw on your presentation that we had a lot of meeting with Hub and one-to-one and everything. I mean, one of the meeting we had a Zoom meeting with the Monty and everyone with the Menzies in South. We had saw the pictures that the tote box completely broken, which is no one can able to use that. It's harmful for the members. Tote box filled with the diesel, so some kind of oil and everything. We complained so many times with the Connect, with the Hubs meeting, but it's, still that even up to the last week, some of the members received the same kind of the tote boxes. I mean, we try, but no results coming through. We need to put more pressure on the suppliers. At least, we always have the core problems: late deliveries, credits, vouchers, missing papers, rerun, late runs. But those problems, Hubs can easily sort out. They can easily take that broken tote box out. They can't send the magazine with fill of diesels and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Kishore Chandarana, Bucks and Bucks, London District. I can understand Connect is doing everything possible for the members, but our members have suffered enough. I came to this conference a couple of years ago, and I said, as far as we are concerned, if suppliers cannot supply the papers on time, we should be credited straight away, without any arguments. No point having all these meetings with PDF and everything. There's no solution to it. If they cannot supply the papers, we should be credited automatically. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Julia Bywater, West Midlands National Councillor. Just to reiterate on what that gentleman's saying, I think when a paper has been late, we should automatically be credited for the loss of that sale or whatever, the compensation, because we have to re-deliver, use our petrol because we can't hold on to the paper kids and keep them held back. So that should be done automatically. I think we need to try and push that forward. The other thing is, Brian, you didn't mention about the helpline, the email address, and I think that's important, because if there's just something that's a bit silly, we can email it, whereas if it's an important thing that's the member needs attention straight away, they can ring through and they're not going to be held up in a queue. So if you can just sort of put the helpline number out there as well.
Colin Reid, National Councillor, Northern District. I've sent 3 pictures of magazines to Connect that have not been delivered for shortages, and I've gone to M&S and there's 20 copies of that magazine sitting on the shelf 2 days later and I still haven't received them, and that's happened the last 4 or 5 weeks, delivered from Wakefield. They've just lost the supply and said there wasn't enough.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ian Smith from Hull, Yorkshire. I got my papers at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They were refusing to send the papers at one point, and I had to demand for them to send them by taxi. This is ridiculous how it's carrying on. I went to this Hull branch, showed them some photographs, and I was sworn at. I have contacted Connect on quite a few occasions, and they haven't got back to me. I've had no apology from Menzies or anything. Now, I'm not just saying that Menzies is at fault, I think Connect's at fault as well, because they haven't dealt with this problem, and it needs dealing with.
Okay, next speaker.
Hi, Sasi Patel, Rochdale and Bury Branch, President Conference. The issues we've been getting is, they've been highlighted to Connect, was highlighted to Monty at our district meeting. They were highlighted to Menzies. In the end, in April, I took the decision to remove Menzies out of my shops because I won't put any more money in their pockets. To this date, I have £1,000 worth of magazines still sat in my security box as of this morning since April, waiting to be collected. And they're still there in 3 top bins.
Okay, hold on, that's Sasi Patel, that's his maiden speech conference. Okay, Brian, do you want to answer some of those questions?
Yeah, I will before the wholesalers come on and hopefully add a bit more value than I can. HND, I think, is very important. It's part of a lot of work we've done. We do share the data of the home deliverers with the wholesalers. We do want to make sure you're on the early drops. Things like cut-off extensions, publisher lateness clearly do impact where we had meetings. Publishers have been positive where they can and where it's possible to put on extra runs. There is a meeting planned for Yorkshire soon. The publishers, certainly John Howard at Reach, is happy to come to districts and do that. Obviously, we have to do that in a programme. Things like diesel in totes is unforgivable, and I'm sure the wholesalers agree there. Late paper credits is a theme that perhaps we need to get more traction on. Automatic, when service fails, some automatic credits is important rather than having to wait. Julia's point about the email, yes, we'll look and make sure we check it's the right one, but we want to pride ourselves on voice phone calls with you guys, first and foremost, because we believe that's important, the human voice. Yeah, Colin's point about copies available in M&S and not in his store, we'll look into. Personally, I think the allocation system's probably been a lot better in recent years, and if you go many years back on availability. The Connect complaint, sorry, I didn't pick up the district there. We'll look into that one personally while we're at conference and come and understand why you haven't had a response. And if there is them magazines waiting to go back months, we'll certainly get that addressed today. So rest assured we'll continue. There are issues, we understand that, but we work relentlessly for you guys to make sure that we do our best, and the wholesalers and publishers are doing their best too. So
thank you for that.